everybody. It's Tony Marcolini. Welcome to It May Interest You to Know podcast. I am Seamus is out today, and we have a pinch hitter to my left in Maria Plinio. And we have a special guest here today. He's one half of the couple, Shane and Emily. You probably know them as performing and touring the country as the band Arbour Season. So welcome, Shane.
Woohoo! So excited to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, we were excited, very excited to have you because you have this, you're plugging along with this fantastic army of fans who really travel everywhere to see you. It must be an exciting feeling.
It's so funny. When we first started playing in Florida, I never envisioned that we would actually have people that would like come to our shows, especially if we played in a place that we've never been at before or traveled to. And when someone shows up and says, "Hey, I saw this show online, we've been following you on Instagram because of whatever reason." Yeah, we're humbled and just so excited. And yeah.
So I'm going to take you back all the way to the beginning. And this is maybe a sentimental story, I don't know, for the romantics out there, but how did you meet your wife?
So we met at an open mic in Florida. So we had like a mutual friend who has just been trying to hook us up for a while, I guess. But he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys are both musicians. You guys would be great together." So we met, and I used my line whenever I don't know what to say, but I just wanted to be close. I would always be like, "Oh, hey, do you have a piece of gum?" I don't know. That was my icebreaker. I sucked.
Woo,
so
Shane's got game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
So, and your line went well, obviously, since you're married.
Yep. So it was funny because we met, and then after that day, we hung out like every single day since we met. We became like best friends instantly. I think a month after that, we started writing songs together. We started a band together. We were a band for 3 years before we even started dating. And then,
oh, really?
So yeah. Yep, that was a crazy thing. Everyone that would come to our shows were like, "You guys are totally getting married." And we're like, "Absolutely not. This is never going to happen." But we were both kidding ourselves the whole time. And then we started dating. Then a year later, we got engaged. And then a few months after that, we got married. And then now we have kids. And yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Were you dating other people while you were in the band? Like, did either of you go out on dates, or was it always just kind of this longing from a distance?
It was... We knew we liked each other, but there was so much background history stuff that was just really crazy. And so I think we were both just like, "No, we're not ready," or "I don't trust, being in a relationship." I would talk to a girl, but I only talked to a girl because I was mad that she was talking to a guy. And then, but nothing ever happens with any of those people. And it kind of just grew into what it is today.
Wow, that's nice. And then you ultimately did get married, and you initially were performing more local, right? Local to Florida, which I guess is where you're both from.
So I'm from Toronto, Canada. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. And then we both met in Florida. So that's kind of how that whole craziness happened.
Wow. Okay. So, but you were more, I think, for performing in Florida at the time. I think that's where Maria first saw you.
Yep. So that's where we started. We started doing like bar, restaurant gigs, cover things, and then we got picked up after doing that for probably like 8 or so months. We got picked up by Disney to play at Disney for 4 years. So every Monday and Tuesday we did that, and then we did like lots of beach gigs. We did like the Hard Rock Casino many times, and Busch Gardens. We would open up for all the bigger acts that came into town. And so that's kind of how we started getting used to playing our own original music in front of and with other bigger bands. And so yeah, Florida was just the perfect place to gig full time, make a great living doing that. And that definitely catapulted into what we're doing now, which is hilarious because now we only play in Florida like once a month, like maybe 3 weeks. 3 weeks a year, pretty much.
Yeah, you're touring all the time now. I see on Instagram, you're in, I guess, an RV, right? You have the whole family now, and you go from, gig to gig.
Yeah, so we had an RV for 4 years. We always dreamed of buying a school bus and converting a school bus. So when COVID hit and all of our shows got canceled, we bought the school bus in Tennessee, drove out there, picked it up, brought it back to Emily's hometown in Missouri, Fredericktown, Missouri, and then we just started converting it. And now we travel in a converted school bus.
Now that's really cool. And you have two children now together. Talk about a success story for a romance.
Yep. We got 2 kids, and then we travel with a nanny as well who watches our kids during our shows.
Wow, I mean, really, that's something for the family. I mean, to be able to do that and be together all the time, it has to be a good feeling.
It is awesome. One of the biggest questions we get all the time is, do you guys ever like want to kill each other? Things like that. And we're both so independent as it is, so we don't really get in each other's space ever. We really truly love being around each other, and we're not like oh, I need attention, so it just works out really, really great. I'm an early riser naturally, so I wake up with the kids and I get to spend my time with them. So
now what I'm really fascinated by, I think with anyone who can create, and we've had all different types of people on here, and I'm fascinated with the creative process for anyone who is creative, whether it's a musician or it's somebody. We've had a lot of writers, both screenwriters and book authors, and I always want to know, what's the creative process like? So I'm going to put it to you. What's the creative process like for you?
So when we're creating music, we have 3 ways of doing it. One, I write songs by myself. That's most of the time. So I'll write most of the songs, bring them to Emily, and she'll trash them and then make them better. So she'll be like, oh no, do this word instead differently. Let's change this melody. She'll reconstruct the whole thing and make it better. The most rare is when I'll write a song that doesn't need changing at all. And that's only happened like once or twice in her whole career. And same thing with Emily. She'll write a song. One of our songs, Arcadian, was actually all written by Emily. Not a thing changed. I only wrote the music for it. So that's the one way. The second way is we actually write songs together. And that's my favorite way. That's when I feel like we come up with the best of the best. I say that, but Arcadian is probably right now our biggest song, and she wrote that. So but our next biggest song is a song called When I Get There, which technically has more streams than Arcadian, but is not growing as fast currently. So saying that, we wrote that song together. So we'll sit down, we fight and argue every single time. I don't think we've ever written a song where, there wasn't some kind of argument or like, usually I'll just be like, she'll say, oh, I hate that. I'm like, do you have to be so mean about it? Those kind of things. But we love the end product every single time. And I will say about 96% of the songs that we write, we actually record and put on a CD. So
wow.
Yeah.
Do you both play instruments?
We do. So she plays a little bit of guitar, but when it comes to recording and in person, like on stage, she plays a U bass. So it's like a tiny ukulele bass, which has a really deep sound. So it sounds like, a bass if you're not watching. And I play guitar and piano, and then we have a looper pedal that loops all of these things together. So, and then we both sing and go back and forth.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean, I guess that's why it's so easy for both of you to write even the music. You would have to have some background, I guess, in playing an instrument. Did you take lessons from when you were young?
When I was 16, I started playing piano, and I took piano lessons and things like that. Actually, even before that, in 8th grade, I played in band, the clarinet, and that's what like taught me how to read the treble clef and all that kind of stuff. And then so when I moved to piano, I became obsessed. I practiced all the time, and I did all the exams. I went to the what do you call them? Man, it's been a long time, but it's like the big exam rooms. We have to sit in front of like in a really big room with like an examiner who like watches everything that you're doing and tests you.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, guess it's that you've always had the passion, right, for it. It sounds like from when you were young, you were drawn towards music. Is there any,
Yeah, it was.
I mean, if
I
you
would
weren't a musician, what would you be?
honestly, I would probably be in some kind of ministry full time because I always thought I was going to be a pastor or something like that. Just because I really, I'm obsessed with reading the Bible and like studying it, and I like reading, and I love people. I love engaging. So we still do a lot of that outside of our music, where we just love to help people. We love to minister. We love going and leading worship at churches, and though we don't do it as much as I like, because we travel full time and we're always on the road. So there's, I think, that's what I was expecting to do. I went to university to be a psychologist.
Oh, wow, that's
So
as far as you can get from musician.
yep. So I went to school for that. I actually took, because you know how you could do your major and then your minor is in something else. And my minor was in music, but I did a music history class and I almost failed that class. So that was kind of ironic. Um,
Okay. Okay, so now you're touring with your band. Now I want to I guess I want to get into a little bit how you got your name, because I know that you put a call to arms out, so to speak, right? You got your fans to be part of the process, because you had performed for a long time under just Shane and Emily.
we did.
And then suddenly, you wanted to, I guess, incorporate other musicians and adopt more of a band feel. And you involved your fans. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so people were kind of bummed that we were changing our name from Shane and Emily because it was that way for so long. So when we changed our name, we wanted it to, when you see the word Shane and Emily, you don't think of anything. It doesn't give you any feeling, You're like, oh, just a guy girl duo. I'm not interested. So we wanted to do something that had like a folksy, outdoorsy kind of vibe sound, and so we knew we wanted it something like that. So we were looking at other band names, and there's one that I loved more than anything. We even reached out. We found out it was another band. I reached out to them and asked them if we could steal their band name, and they said no. So I was bummed. But I actually did that with two band names. But anyway, so we decided on I don't know if it was two different names or how we came to terms with. Okay, we liked Arbour Season, but we didn't know if it should be the Arbour Season or Arbour Season. So we posted it on our Facebook. Said, hey guys, this is what we're thinking of changing it to. What do you think? What is the winner? And so everybody said Arbour Season. It was like, you know, the name.
Good. And your fans, I guess you have diehard fans who follow you from location to location. So I think that involving them in that way was probably a pretty cool feeling for them. You guys even do I know, Instagram, you go live sometimes, and I don't know if that's spontaneous or prepared, but like sometimes I'll even get the thing to my phone that you're live, and you can turn it, tune in and you can hear you performing a song together. Is
Yeah,
that
so that's never planned. It's always like, hey Emily, you want to go live? She's like, okay. During quarantine, we did have it planned because when you're a musician and that's how you make your living, we were like, okay, we're gonna do it at least twice a week or something like that. We set it all up, so we planned the whole thing. But now, whenever we do a live stream, it's last minute. Like, hey, you down? She's like, I'm down, and then we do it. Yep.
Tell me about your influences. Who are your greatest influences?
So Coldplay is one of my favorite bands. I love their energy and all that kind of stuff. But then Gregory Alan Isaacoff is my all-time inspiration when it comes to writing songs. I always think, would he like this if he heard this? Or John Mayer, I'm like, would he like this song lyric? So those are mine. Emily listens to so much music. I don't even think she'd probably say Penny and Sparrow is her biggest influence. And that's one of mine too. We really like that. But anything that's really indie folk, we'll hear a song and be like, oh, we need to do something like that. I'm more bands, like I'll follow a band or an artist that I absolutely love, and I just charge the hill and read everything about them. I listen to all their stuff. Where Emily's not a band or an artist person, she likes songs, so she'll find songs she likes. So we're pretty different that way.
Do you have a favorite? And I hate to ask you this, right? Because I'm sure they're all creations of yours and you love them all in some way, like children, right? You love them all. But
Yeah.
do you have a favorite song of yours?
Um, yeah, Emily will say When I Get There is her favorite. Mine, I think, is Old Friend. I don't, there's something about like, I think that's my favorite guitar riff I ever came up with. And the whole vibe and flow of that song, I think, is my personal favorite. Um, but there's something about playing Arcadian live that I just really love. And because the energy that it gives off right away when you start the show with that. And then most people know it now. So it's, yeah, yep. But Old Friends, I think, or Fireflies, depending on the vibe.
Okay.
I just threw like 4 songs at you.
Now, what's your most memorable moment on stage that you've had to date?
Most memorable moment on stage. It's so funny because there's so many different kinds, different house shows and different things that we're like, man, that was such a great experience. We'll never forget that. But for some reason, I always go back to this one time we were playing at this bar in Dunedin, Florida called the Chickaboom Room. And this one lady came up and she fell on our keyboard and on our mics and knocked the whole entire stage over. Everything collapsed. And she was like in her 90s. It was a pretty crazy moment. So I'll always remember that. And then obviously the one show that I stopped the whole show and proposed to Emily in the middle of the set. So there was that.
Now I don't know this story. This is a story I have to hear. Tell me this.
Okay, so the long story short, we were on a huge trip across the country in the RV with our friends Joe, Taylor, and Mitchell, and we were all just, we crossed the whole country. Emily, I did not know this, was debating the whole time about breaking up with me. She just, I don't even know why. She never really explained why. I should talk to her about that. But anyway, and it wasn't until I dropped her off from that trip at her house. I lived in the RV full time, so I just dropped her off at the house. And in the second I pulled away, she says, "Yep, he's the man I'm going to marry," because I wish that he didn't leave just that moment. So that moment decided, okay, he's the one. I proposed 2 days later. So if I proposed 2 days before that moment, it could have been a completely different scenario. But we were at Disney. I already told everybody like a few weeks before, you need to come to this gig that we're playing at Disney. Everybody show up. So everybody was there. And because we've been gone for 6 weeks, she assumed that it was just, oh, we haven't been playing in Florida for a while, so everyone just wanted to come see us. So her parents were there. So many people. And then I said, oh, Emily, can you order me food while I'm playing? And so she got off the stage, and then I started playing this song that she told me when we first met. She said, I wish somebody would, if I was ever to get proposed to, I would want them to play this song. And I don't know why, I just remembered it. So I played that song.
What's the song? What was the song?
The song is I've Got a Question for You. I don't know if you know that song.
I don't.
It was on the show Scrubs, and she just always remembered it. It's something like well, baby, tonight I've got a question for you. Something like there's someday somebody's gonna ask you a question that you should say yes to once in your life. Baby, tonight I've got a question for you. And then I'm almost getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. But the second I played the song and the first words came out of my mouth, she just broke down because she knew what was going to happen the second that I did that. And I've never sang that song before. We never talked about that moment ever since. And I got all of our friends to bring roses to her while she was standing on the, in front of the stage. And it was just a great moment. It was so wonderful.
So she says yes. Did she yell out yes, or where's the moment where you have a deal?
So I said, so Emily, the question is, will you marry me, or something like that. And no, actually, no, I put down the guitar and I got off stage and I did the whole kneel down thingy and I showed her the ring or whatever. And then she just kind of like cried and said yes. And then I went to go put the ring on her finger and I dropped it. I'm like chasing it all over the ground. And so it was a kind of a funny moment, but yeah.
I hope somebody taped this. I hope somebody had their phone running.
They did. You can find it. I don't know if it's on YouTube or Facebook, but it's out there. It's out there somewhere.
Now you sent me on a mission today. I have to go find this now. Wow. Okay, that is a great story. That's a story your kids, when they get older, are gonna love to hear. What's it
Oh
like
yeah.
touring with your kids? I mean, is that I mean, they're so young. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure they're your son's getting a little bit older. Is he closing in on 2 now, right?
He's now just over 3 years old, and Juno
Oh,
just turned 7 months today. Um,
so at 3 he's getting into some trouble, right? He's around doing stuff, and is it ever
yeah.
is it hard to create with kids so young around, or to travel and to be so confined when you're traveling? Is that hard? What's that like?
So for us, we did a lot of traveling before our kids, and then when we had kids, we found that we loved traveling way more having kids. Surprisingly, because I thought it would be tougher, and it's not that it's not tougher. I would say the right word though is it's different. So we now do things that we normally wouldn't do. Like we now look out for like children museums and fun things that they would like when we're on the road. And he's just he's made me love life even more because he looks at everything. He's obsessed with everything. He's like, Dad, look at that cloud or the trees or the bird. And so he's just so enamored with everything. And so we just have so much fun. He runs from one side of the bus to the other. We kick a ball in the bus a lot, but we're usually outdoors, um, playing outside or going on hikes, or we played a lot of house shows. Um, Honestly, we now have almost a yearly circuit that we do. So we see a lot of the same people every year, sometimes more. Like Missouri, we go through this town probably 6 times a year. So he sees a lot of the same people and remembers everybody. And so, yeah, to answer your question, it's awesome. Like we absolutely love it. And having a nanny full time really helps with a lot of those things.
Now, does your son, is he starting to get the music bug?
He sings perfectly on key. And when he taps and says songs, like he's always on beat. It's the craziest thing. I always told people where I didn't mind. I wouldn't care at all if he never played music. If he did whatever he want, like whatever you find passion and joy in, go for it with all of your heart, and um, be awesome at it. But man, I think he's going to do something with music because he's so great, and I can't believe how on key he is. And people say it all the time. They're like, "Wow, like it's amazing." And if you sing one song to him, he'll remember it always, and he'll never forget it.
Oh boy. I think maybe he has been bitten by the music bug.
I think so. I think so.
I mean, the fans you have are among the best I've ever seen, right? The fans that you have travel to see you. I know Maria, who's on with us right now, is the one who originally turned me on to you. She's a big fan of your music, and she'll literally get in the car and travel if you're performing in any state. Maria, as a fan of someone, what's it like to be in the crowd?
They're wonderful to listen to. I'm proud of them. I've known them so many years now. It's almost like we're family in a way. But I wish I could see them more. I see them once, twice a year. But if there's a show around and I'm in the state, I'll go to it.
And it's high energy as well, right? They're high energy crowds. So Shane, where can people go who want to see where you're touring, to see, where you're at? Where can they find that information?
I would say our website's the best place for that. It has everything. You can buy shirts and stickers and CDs and see our tour schedule. Everything is just arborseason.com. Bands in Town is really fun too. So if you sign in and have an account with Bands in Town, and you follow us, then you'll get an update on your phone whenever we're near you. So that's pretty cool. We have quite a awesome following on that thing. And so, yeah.
Okay, we're going to put up all the links. So for anybody who wants to check out the band, I highly recommend it. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. So we'll have the links in the comments below for YouTube. This has been a pleasure to really talk to you a little bit and get to know you. I know that you guys are busy, and you are, even in the middle of COVID, you're actively touring,
Yeah.
so, which is amazing. Nobody's touring. You guys are touring. So I thank you that you took a little bit of time to spend with me today.
Absolutely. I think I just like talking, so it's nice.
Well, come back again for certain. Maybe with your next album. Maybe you could come back when your next album's launching and talk to us about it and about the theme or, creating that new set of music.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be recording in Flagstaff, Arizona, January, February, and March time. So we'll be recording the next one really soon. So excited.
Great. So hopefully, we're going to get them back again when their next album's coming out. They'll come talk to us about it. In the meanwhile, I encourage everybody to check them out. You can literally punch them into, by the way, just go to YouTube and punch in Arbour season and a ton of their videos will come up. But, go to their website. If they're touring anywhere near you, purchase a ticket and go. You won't be disappointed. So I'm going to say bye, everybody. And thank you for joining us today.